Yo, what is up, everybody? We got me and Juan Gotti here. Make sure you guys check him out. Great Washington football team YouTuber. I'll make sure to put his link down in the comments in a few minutes. So we're going to talk about, first we'll talk about the Mariota news. I'll make a video about that tomorrow as well, but we'll talk about that first. Then we'll go through free agency, go through some targets, some new rumors, and then at the end we might do a couple mock drafts and talk about some positions that we need to upgrade. We'll talk about that in free agency as well. So what is your actually, let's say hi to some people in the chat first. What's up, Shrihan? What's up, King Sean? What's up, Hassan? What's up, Clay? What's up, Justin? What's up, Dequavis? What's up, Brian? What's up, Justin? What's up, Ali? What's up, Nard? What's up? So yeah, appreciate everyone for coming through. So yeah, Juan, what is your immediate reaction to the Marcus Mariota news?
So before we get to it, I want to say appreciate you for having me on again. Shout out to everyone in the chat. And I actually made a video about this today. So my reaction to Mariota, it's just another rumor, that's in my opinion. And I stated in my video, if we got him, I'm not going to be happy or mad. I'm going to just be neutral about okay, I guess Mariota's our quarterback. I'm not really going to have any feeling toward it. I'm going to just be I guess we didn't swing for the fences and this is our quarterback. But the thing I said in my video was that if you're going to go Marcus Mariota route, why not just start Heineke or let Heineke and Kyle Allen and whoever that third is, whether it's Alex Smith or somebody we pick up late in the draft or, a lower tier free agent, let them battle it out, because I feel like Heineke and Mariota are literally the same kind of players as far as the situation they're in. Yeah, I get it. Mariota is a former first-round pick, and he actually has starting experience in multiple seasons, but I just feel like what you're going to be paying Mariota, you already basically paid that to Taylor Heineke, and I just feel like it's not going to be a good reason unless it's something that I'm not seeing. I feel like it's going to be a big reason to get Mariota.
Yeah, so I agree, and I just put his link in the chat, so make sure you guys sub up to Juan. And here's the thing with Marcus Mariota, not my preferred option, of course, but I much rather go after Marcus Mariota than someone like Tyrod Taylor. I heard about Teddy Bridgewater as well. I don't think, because at least, you can argue if Teddy's better than Marcus Mariota or Tyrod Taylor's better than Marcus Mariota, but they're, in their 30s-ish. Bridgewater's a little bit younger, of course, but Marcus Mariota, former second overall pick in the draft, he has a lot of talent, and he can be at least serviceable to you. So at the very least, you're getting close to the play you would get from Bridgewater, Tyrod Taylor, any of these other guys, but you also have the upside with that. And, maybe you give him a season, maybe you give him 2 seasons, see how it plays out. And, maybe the first season, if it goes totally wrong, you can go ahead, replace him with Kyle Allen, Taylor Heineke, and then if you get a good draft pick, go ahead and take your quarterback. Then I'm not in love with the move. Also, one thing to keep in mind, and what's up, Philip? What's up, Tyler? One thing to keep in mind is that, and Burgundy and Gold fan all day, one thing to keep in mind is that his salary right now is $10 million, but if he does get traded due to his incentives in his contract, it might end up being more like $20 million a year, and that is a big no-no. So if that happens, I think they're going to restructure. I think they will restructure the contract, and as long as it's 15 or less, I'm fine. If it's more than 15, then I'm not doing it. But I think he would be a solid option. He's the thing with Juan and the GM guys, the front office guys, they really value leadership and character at the quarterback position, and you're getting that with Marcus Mariota. But again, it's not that much of an upgrade over Heineke or Kyle Allen. It could be, but at the moment you just really, really don't know. And depends also what you have to give up in draft capital. I'm not really sure what it would be. Juan, what do you think it would be? Like a 4th round pick around that, maybe more, maybe less?
Yeah, so what I said was that I said that I'm not giving up no more than a 3rd round pick. And that's the most I'm giving up for Mariota, me. And then, obviously, then we could talk more, 4th and maybe a player or something. But I'm not giving nothing more than a 3rd-round pick for Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, I think if that's let's say we strike out. Let's say Dak Prescott re-signs with the Cowboys. Let's say, I know some people don't like Jameis Winston, but I actually think that would be a solid option. I think he has a lot of upside. If he re-signs with the Saints and some of the other options they like, maybe Sam Darnold gets traded to the Colts, then I think that I would be willing to give up a third, probably our second, 3rd-round pick, the later one. I would be willing to do that. I would be willing to probably do that. That's a little high for me, but I'm not giving more than that. What's up, AM Hunter? What's up, James? But it's tough. And, I'm also a big believer. If they really like a guy, in free agency, the draft, or via trade, then I think I'm fine with them giving up a lot to go get their guy. But they have to be really, really sure that Mariota, Sam Darnold, Derek Carr, whoever it is, they have to be firm believers that this guy can be a franchise quarterback, because if he can't, there's no reason to go Marcus Mariota could be a solid bridge quarterback, but I don't see the really point of that when you already have someone like Kyle Allen and Taylor Heineke that can be serviceable starters for periods of time. If you think Mariota can be a franchise guy, if you like his fit in your system, then go ahead and trade for him. What other quarterback options at the moment do you like?
So at the moment, you want me to be realistic or what I want?
I would say definitely don't. Deshaun Watson's not counting. You could say Prescott. I mean, obviously Prescott's everyone's dream scenario, but yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not going to go unrealistic. I think good options are, obviously Marcus Mariota. That's the last person I would want. But me personally, man, honestly, Matthew Stafford was the guy that I wanted, and we didn't get Matthew Stafford. So I'm like, whoever we get, I'll be fine with, as long as they're not terrible. My preferred option is probably going to be on the roster, man, or maybe draft now. Remember, I was a big veterans guy, but the veteran that I wanted isn't there no more. So I'm thinking maybe stay within in-house or go with the draft, because I don't really see there being any more good veterans that we could possibly trade for. Obviously, you got Dak Prescott, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. So more realistically, I think maybe we might end up staying in-house or Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And also, one thing to keep in mind, guys, is that I do think more quarterbacks that we don't think are going to be available will become available, because first, a lot of teams want to make upgrades at the position, and they might move on from a player that we like. And also, I think, you look at the cap space, it's going down from what it was expected to be. I think it went down by like 18 million from 198, which was last year, to like 180 this year. So teams are going to have to cut some players, move on from some players that they, weren't planning on doing. And maybe that's a quarterback. I think there's going to be a lot more turnover at the quarterback position this offseason. And there might be some guys that become available. Obviously, maybe Jimmy G. I don't know. That it's a possibility. All these guys are possibilities. Matt Ryan is a possibility. Those kind of guys probably won't be made available, but they could be. My opinion, I'm okay with Mariota. I don't like Darnold. I just don't. But if you see something there, if Washington sees something there and they really, really believe that they can, turn this guy around into what everyone thought he was going to be, coming out of college, then I'm fine with that. It's tough because this is his second to last year on his contract if they pick up the 5th-year option. So next year after this season, it's going to be $25 million a year to go after, or to sign him for that 1 year, and then even more after that. And I heard the price for him is probably I heard Adam Schefter say probably a first. I heard Ian Rapport say, could be a late second or a late first, early second. So that price for me is way too high. I would never, ever give up our first this year for Sam Darnold. I don't think that's even remotely I just don't do that. A second, I would not do that, but if they really believe that he can be their franchise guy, I would trust him in that. Wouldn't like the move. But what's your, take on Sam Darnold?
So my take on Sam Darnold, it's I'm not gonna say it's weird, but I just think I'm probably one of the only few. Sam Darnold has a lot of untapped potential. If you guys go back to USC days, you knew what you were getting. To a guy that was going to throw a lot of touchdowns, but a guy that was going to turn over the ball a lot. What is he doing in New York? I just think he's put in such a terrible position with the Jets organization. And trust me, our organization is not good, but the Jets organization is just failed him completely. Didn't surround him with any talent. This guy's best receiver was Jamison Crowder and Braxton Berrios. Who is Braxton Berrios before this season ended, obviously, or started, I should say. Those were his two targets. When he had semi-good receivers, they were okay. They were still bad, but they were okay. This guy has a lot of talent. I just think if he's put on the right team with a right, obviously situation for coaches to players around him, he could really be good. He's still young, but I just think the Jets failed him completely. That not a lot of teams are going to be high on him anymore. You know what I'm saying? And whether he stays with the Jets or he goes to another team, whether that's us or the Colts, whoever that is, he's going to be way better than what he was in New York. I think Robert Saleh, if he does stay in New York and stay with Sam Darnold, I think that it's going to be better for him because obviously Adam Gase isn't there. I just think he was put in a terrible situation, and honestly, I would not mind getting him if we got a veteran also, or if we got him and then let Heineke or Kyle Allen, play. But he's like my last option.
Yeah. And I forgot to read it, but Merrill Garrett, I appreciate the $2 donation, says he won't beat out Heineke. And I'm not sure, since this was a couple minutes ago, I'm not sure if you're talking about Sam Darnold or Marcus Mariota. But yeah, I think, Taylor Heineke is, you saw what he did in his limited action in Washington this year. And if he's given a chance in training camp, who knows what he could do. Again, I appreciate the donation. Yeah, Sam Darnold, like you said, very, very bad situation that he was in. Adam Gase, like you said, Jamison Crowder was his best receiver. His running backs were something Pirine, I think Samaje Pirine's cousin, and then Frank Gore. Like, he had bad offensive line. Just wasn't put in a good situation. And yeah, like Philip B said, he's very young, a year younger than Joe Burrow. He has a lot of growth. He can still grow, but at the same time, he's going to start to get expensive. And if you are willing to trade a first for Sam Darnold, you might as well just go and put in, maybe trade up to get a quarterback, or maybe draft, Mac Jones. Even though I'm not the biggest fan, I just don't know if Sam Darnold is the answer. So let's go on to some, free agents at the wide receiver position. Juan, what is your top 3 wide receivers? Like, not necessarily, obviously, not your top 3 best receivers that you think are available in free agency, but like, what are your top 3 that you would think would fit the best here?
Top 3 that would fit the best here, honestly, I'm thinking probably, and I know a lot of people don't like him, but I think if we can land him, it would be great. And that's Nelson Aguilar. He's like on tier 2, under the Chris Godwins and obviously all the tier 1 receivers. I think if we can get him, and then also what's his name? He slipped my mind. I was just about to say, Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel is another guy who I really like, and I think he could fit well with this team. Him and Terry McLaurin are somewhat best friends. I like Corey Davis, who's obviously on that tier 2. And his deal is literally like, cheap. It's like $10 million, and that's not because of his skill. That's because he tends to go ghost throughout the season. So I think the tier 2 will really be those 3. And obviously you have Pascal, like someone put in the comments, but I think my top 3 as far as tier 2 and like more realistic I think it's Curtis Samuel, it's Nelson Aguilar, and it's also the last guy that I just named.
Yeah, and I think this is a year to get that wide receiver position filled up. Get that hole filled up. If you're not going to go after quarterback this year, make sure you you upgrade these positions that you need to upgrade besides quarterback. So then when you do get that quarterback in, let's say maybe possibly this year in the draft or next year in free agency or next year in the draft, then he's put in a great situation. Ron Rivera has alluded to that a bunch of times this year. But yeah, obviously Allen Robinson's the best receiver available. He's going to cost a lot of money, but there actually was a report out earlier this week that he would not mind coming back to the Bears or the Jags. So that kind of shows he really doesn't care about the quarterback situation. He just cares about the money. And in that case, that would be a good fit here. I would really like him with Terry McLaurin. Obviously, going to cost a lot of money, but I would like that too. And if you're going to go after Marcus Mariota, he played with Corey Davis in Tennessee. Maybe they have a connection right there. Like you said, I like Corey Davis. Curtis Samuel as well in the slot. Huge upgrade over Steven Sims. What's up, Armin? Huge upgrade over Steven Sims. Can run the ball a little bit too. I really, really like Curtis Samuel. Another guy like Marvin Jones. We'll see if he might want to follow Matthew Stafford this year, but I really like Marvin Jones. And those are kind of the receivers I like. I don't really like Will Fuller. I think he's a solid player, but he's injury prone, had a PEDs this past offseason. Allen Robinson I'm not sure if he's a restricted or not, Am Hunter. I'll check on that. But there's a lot of good receivers this year, guys. And in free agency and in the draft, I think we're going to address it more in free agency just because. Allen Robinson, I think he is exclusive rights free agent. So it's going to be hard to get him. But there's a lot of good free agents, a lot of good players in the draft, and we need to make sure we upgrade the position this year to help out our quarterback this year and our quarterback of the future, whether he's on the roster this season or not. We got to upgrade that position. And yeah, Cam Sims is also a free agent. What do you think about Cam Sims? You want to bring him back?
So for Cam Sims, I like Cam Sims. I just think that he didn't really shoot himself in the foot because no one really expected him to have a lot, be a lot this year. But I just think his catches or his passes that he dropped rather were like big drops. Steelers game, Tampa Bay would have gave us a huge momentum boost. I just think Cam Sims will really be good if we bring him back, but I wouldn't be mad if we didn't bring him back. And I think the reason for him not coming back would be plays like that. But Cam Sims coming back, I think he at least makes it to training camp to at least compete.
Oh yeah, I'd rather have him on the roster than Steven Sims, no doubt. I think Steven Sims might be a little bit more talented, but at some point you got to translate that talent to the field, and he hasn't been able to do that. Drops a bunch of passes, can't field a punt, just awful this year. Probably besides Haskins, obviously, was probably the most disappointing player this year, in my opinion. Just did not end up having a good year at all. It cost us a couple games, really. The Panthers games, the receiver position, not good right now, and got to upgrade it. And I would be, good with Cam Sims as a rotational receiver. So, you got your 1, you got your 2, and then you got your slot guy. And I think Cam Sims coming in there as your 4th best receiver in that range, I would like that. And 4th, 5th best receiver, because we're going to have 6 receivers on the roster more likely than not. So if you have 6, you obviously got Terry. I think Kelvin Harmon is back. I hope he's back. But he's not safe, though. Kelvin Harmon is not a lock to make the team, in my opinion, just because not only is he a pick from the old regime, but he also didn't play at all this year. So we'll see if I would personally bring him back, but I just don't know if he's a lock to make the team. But let's just assume Terry makes the team, AGG makes the team, and Kelvin Harmon makes the team. that puts you at 3 receivers, assuming you sign someone in free agency and the draft. That puts you at 5 receivers right there. So Cam Sims would be that 6th, and Steven Sims, Isaiah Wright would probably be on the outside looking in. Maybe Isaiah Wright would be on the practice squad. So, and also one quick question: Would you rather draft a receiver in the first round or sign a big name in free agency?
I would personally rather sign a big name in free agency. Why? Because we had the money, and Ron Rivera said that he wants to get a veteran, and also we have enough young talent. We're just going to be adding to the young talent. So I would want to go get a proven veteran to go alongside our young talent and not continue to have the young leading the blind, which I technically mean like the young leading the young, basically, at the receiver position. Our oldest receiver is going to be Terry McLaurin, and he's still very young. So I would prefer to get a veteran.
And yeah, I totally agree. And mostly because if you look at the draft, there's so many receivers. There's so many receivers you can get in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, even later than that. You see AJ Brown 2nd round, DK Metcalf 2nd round, Chase Claypool 2nd round. I think Juju was a 2nd round pick. Tyreek Hill, I think 4th, 5th round. Stephon Diggs 5th round. Terry McLaurin 3rd round. There's so many late round guys that you can get. And if you look at a position like offensive tackle, there's not many offensive tackles that you get in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round that are really good offensive tackles. There's a lot of really good receivers you can get in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round. So I'd rather spend that pick on maybe a tackle, definitely a linebacker, maybe another position that we could upgrade, because I feel like receiver, we can easily do. Yeah, AB was a 6th round pick. We can easily do that in free agency rather the draft. I really, I would be excited if we got a receiver in the 1st round, but at the same time, I would not like to pick unless it's obviously one of the big 3: Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, or Jamar Chase, and Kyle Pitts, wide receiver / tight end. But those guys are probably not going to be there. So any other guy, Kadarius Toney, Elijah Moore, really would not want to draft those guys in the 1st round, just because I feel like you can get better value later and you can go after some other positions. Do you agree with that or not? Oh, I think you're muted right now.
Yeah, I do. I agree with that. And I was reading a comment by my man Azam Moore. He says AGG needs to improve or he's getting cut. That's true, but he was a rookie last year. He was hurt. You can't really blame injuries on him. And yeah, when he did get his short, time on the field, he didn't get open really. But I think if he was really, a little nervous, and obviously he is, he's a rookie. And I think you got to give him a break, man. And I think he'll make the roster in 2020.
Yeah, I think AGG will make the roster just because he's a high character guy. I think they're gonna want to bring him back. He really kind of redshirted his rookie year. I mean, he didn't have an off season at all. He didn't have rookie mini camp or OTAs. Had a couple of days of training camp. Then got a concussion. Played in a couple games, but obviously wasn't really developed because he didn't have much of an offseason. Got hurt, was out for I don't know, 10 weeks, came back the last couple weeks of the season, or actually came back week 16 and did not look good. So I think they're going to give him minimum this year. But if he doesn't have a great year, I definitely, could see them moving on from him after this next year. Yeah, Kadarius Toney is a weapon. I rather go after receiver in the 3rd or later rounds, or rather go after a receiver this year in free agency. So let's move on to another position, in free agency. Let's go to tight end. What do you think about the tight end position this offseason? Do you think, I think most people, myself included, I don't think we need to make a big upgrade over Logan Thomas, but I do think we need some depth. So do you agree with that first? And then who are some guys you would like us to go after?
Yeah, I do agree with that. I just don't think that the team values the tight end as a problem as much as they did at the beginning of the year because Logan Thomas had a heck of a season. I think we need a guy like you, maybe Mo Alley Cox or something, maybe an old guy like Jared Cook. But I just don't think Hunter Henry. If we got Hunter Henry, that would be amazing. I would love that. But I don't think he's much as a need as he once was at the beginning of the year. So a guy like Mo Alley Cox, Jared Cooks, just somebody like that's small, like a second string, or maybe even get a first string kind of guy. You never know. I just think someone would be like that would be really good. I think we can go in the draft and get a guy like Brevin Jordan from Miami, obviously, and also a ton of other tight ends. But whatever we do, I don't care if we get better or if we get a backup for Logan Thomas. I think it's a win-win situation, whatever way we look at it.
Yeah, I agree. What's up, Celeste? What's up, BJ? What's up, Terry? What's up, Blue Jay? What's up, Casper? So yeah, I agree. I think honestly, backup tight end is one of the biggest needs this offseason. I'm totally fine with sticking with Logan Thomas. Wouldn't mind, if Kyle Pitts fell to us. I would love that, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I think, there's some guys in the draft. I think some guys I like in free agency as a backup, as a number 2. Gerald Everett would be a really good tight end. 27 years old, had about 417 yards last year, 2 total touchdowns. Jonnu Smith, I would like him. I think he's more of a 1, but that would be an interesting guy to pick up. Someone said David Njoku. I would be okay with him, but yeah, I would be good with Njoku as a 2, not as a 1 at the moment. Like you said, Mo Alley Cox would be solid. Again, we're just looking for guys that can come in, and let's say Logan Thomas is out for 6 weeks. They can come in and produce at a solid rate as a tight end number 2, because this past season, Jeremy Sprinkle is not a tight end 2 at all. So, and we'll see. A lot of people are saying Thad Moss. We'll see how he does. I'm interested to see. I think he might make the team this year. Really was injured for the whole off season and still had an injury early on in the year, so they put him on IR. And let's see if he can improve this year and make the team. But I think we got to get some depth at that position and free agency or the draft. Like you said, I think Brevin Jordan. There's also some guys you can get in the 4th, 5th round that can be solid guys, and maybe Logan Thomas can develop them in the next couple years, and maybe they can be the tight end 1 after a couple years. What are you thinking about offensive line this offseason? Do you want to go after anyone? Do you want to upgrade any positions?
So similar to the tight end position, I think the line is you can get better, especially at the left tackle position, but you don't need to. If we go into the line, if we go into 2021 with the same line, Morgan Moses, Brandon Sheriff, if he gets resigned, obviously Chase Roulier, Wes Schweitzer, and Cornelius Lucas, I'm fine with that. They played phenomenal. You got some of the you guys that really want to left tackle in the first round, which I wouldn't mind. You guys don't understand. If you look at the All 22 film, they literally played phenomenal, man. They are really a good tandem. And if you get another guy, obviously you can always get better, which is fine, but you don't need to anymore. You don't need to. The guys that we have up there now is really good. You know what I'm saying? But if we do get better, okay, cool. But it's not really a big need anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I somewhat agree. I think I'm obviously right tackle. I like that. I love Moses. Obviously, Sheriff, we want to bring him back. Chase, really, I'm good with that. I'm good with those 3 guys, and I'm good with Wes Schweitzer as well. And I would be okay. I would be totally fine with Cornelius Lucas coming back because he did play good, but I'm not sure how old he is. I think he's getting a little up there in age. Like, he might not have like 3, 4 years there. So it really depends, in my opinion, how they feel about Sadiq Charles. Do they think he's a left tackle or do they think he's a left guard? Because if they think he's a guard, you can have Sadiq at left guard, Chase Willie at center, Sheriff at right guard, Moses at right tackle, and have one of the best backup guards in the league in Wes Schweitzer. And maybe if there's a really good tackle this year early on, you can go after them in the draft. I really like. Okay, yeah, thanks. Eric, I think that's you. He said Cornelius Lucas is 29. So, but I think someone like Christian Darrisaw from VTech. There's a couple guys. I don't think it's a necessity, but I would like us to maybe go after someone. There's also a couple solid guys in free agency. Let me take a look. You got Trent Williams, Jason Peters, who's super old. Alejandro Villanueva, 33. He's definitely an upgrade over. Sorry about that. He's definitely an upgrade over Cornelius Lucas, but he's getting up there in age. He's 33 years old. So, and then you got Kelvin Beachum. So not really any great free agents besides Trent Williams, but he's also 33 years of age. So, yeah, I somewhat agree with you, and I think I would be fine if we ran it back with this unit. What are your thoughts on Cornelius Lucas, Sadiq Charles? Do you think left tackle, left guard, and do you think he's going to be a starter?
Well, with Sadiq Charles, his concerns coming into the league was that he was too small to play left tackle, obviously. But I don't think we got a full, obviously due to injuries, we didn't get a full chance to see him at left tackle. We sent him at left guard for that little bit of time, and he looked really solid. You know what I'm saying? So I think left guard is probably where he belongs, but we can't really judge him at left tackle because we didn't really get to see him play at left tackle. So left guard, left tackle. I think left guard is the move, but we should at least give him a chance to play left tackle.
Yeah, I agree. The only thing that concerns me with him, obviously, is the injury. I mean, he had the injury coming into camp, that calf injury. After that, he had the dislocated knee. So that concerns me a little bit. But we'll see. I think he has really, really good potential either at the left tackle or left guard position. So either way, I'm fine with it. Philippi, thank you so much for the $10 donation. I think the plan for QB is grab someone like Mariota, compete, get best player available in draft, and next year possibly worry about quarterback. Hopefully we get Allen Robinson or Corey Davis. Again, appreciate the donation, and I agree. I think they are looking at this like a win-win situation. I think they want to make an upgrade at the quarterback position. I just don't think there's any guys that are available that they would really like. But if Dak Prescott was available, I think they would go all in. Maybe Derek Carr, guys like that, and obviously Deshaun Watson. But if not, I agree with you, Mariota. And I think they also are thinking, if we can't get the quarterback, like you said, we have to build around, make sure we fill all these holes. So when we do bring in that quarterback, whether it be a guy in the draft or whether it be a guy in free agency, he's ready to thrive. He's in a good situation, and helping him out on that wide receiver position, maybe someone on the offensive line, and also helping out the defense, getting a linebacker, maybe a corner or free safety. So I agree with you. It's going to be very interesting. I hope they settle this soon. Hopefully, if it's not done after free agency, it's going to be this quarterback situation is going to be it's going to be a while before we figure out. I just hope it's before the draft, because if it's not before the draft, then we're either drafting a guy or going after someone like Sam Darnold. So it's going to be interesting. But again, appreciate the donation. And yeah, best player available is the way to go. You look at, let's say there's 5 players on the board. Obviously you're not going to take a D tackle or defensive end with your first round pick. But if you're going to take the best player available. And I think they've done a good job at that in the last couple of years. I think, they've gotten some good value guys in the later rounds, even though it didn't necessarily look like a need at the moment. So, yeah. So, and I want to touch on one thing. What do you think about Dak Prescott? Like, obviously, would you want him? How much would you pay for him? And also, what do you think he's going to be available?
So obviously Dak Prescott is and I'm pretty sure everyone's dream quarterback. If you really, and you look past all that, he played for the Cowboys, is if you really want the best interest for this team, we know Dak Prescott is the best quarterback in free agency. So with Dak Prescott, I really think that he wants 38 million, 40 million. He wants all of that money. He's not worth $38 million, in my opinion. I'm going to be honest. He's really good. He's really good. But I think Dak Prescott, and I know this is probably being cheap, but I'm cutting it off at least $32 million at the most. That's the most I'm willing to give for Dak Prescott. So you can say we're out of the sweepstakes if you want, because he wants 38 million. I don't think he's worth all that money. I really don't. And I think he's going to re-sign with the Dallas Cowboys. I think they're just really trying to, keep their name in the mix to, keep the publicity and keep fans anticipated back when they're paid, social media and all that. I think they got their mind made up. I just think they want to keep extending it just to keep doing it. I think ultimately he'll end up back in the silver and white.
So, yeah, I mean, the thing with Dak is obviously you're taking him from a division rival. You're taking him from the Cowboys. You're automatically, making them way worse. They're going to be probably the worst team. Them or the Eagles, the worst team in the division, if they don't have Dak. Also, one thing to keep in mind, the cap is going to go way up. I mean, after this year, because of the new TV deal, it's going to go way up. And if you get him for a 3-4-year deal, by the end of that third, fourth year, he's going to be like the 7th, 8th highest paid quarterback just because of how the market is developing, especially with guys like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow in a few years. Guys like that are going to hit the market and they're going to reset the market. So, and with the cap going up, I personally would throw a lot of money to go after him, but I understand people that don't want to do it just because, if we do sign him, we have a couple year window where we still are going to have our guys before we have to pay our D line and our other playmakers. But I do agree with you. But also, a lot of people are saying that he's going to get re-signed, a lot of insiders, but I'm not completely buying it just because they've had this is the third year. I think this is the third year they've been able to pay him. They haven't paid him. They've paid DeMarcus Lawrence, not that. I mean, he was good at the time, but not worth the money they gave him. Jalen Smith, not worth the money they gave him. Ezekiel Elliott, who was partying out in Mexico, they gave him a bunch of money. And, they didn't give their franchise guy the money. And the funny thing is they could have paid him 3 years ago, like $25 million a year, and he would have signed it. But every year they waited. He played better, and also he had more leverage. And I think if they franchise tag him if I'm Dak, this is what I'm telling them. If you franchise tag me, I'm not signing with you again. And they just can't franchise tag him, because if you franchise tag him this year, it's going to be $38 million, and he's not going to come back. He's not going to come back after you've had 3 years being able to give him that contract, and then the year after this, if they decide to franchise tag him, it's over $50 million, and we all know that's not going to happen. So, I mean, it's likely that Dak gets re-signed, but I'm not completely sure that it's it's a done deal. I would like to bring him back. So, yeah. And one thing I wanted to talk about is I saw the NFC East division odds, and it got me mad, but I don't really care. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, really keep letting people sleep on us. But they had the Cowboys as a favorite. Okay, and I guess I'm okay with that. I mean, they're America's team, quote unquote. They already know, all the Cowboys fans are going to think they're going to go to the Super Bowl. They're going to go ahead and bet them to win the NFC East. So that's fine. After that, though, that's where I have a problem with it. They have the Eagles as the second favorite to win the division. They have the Eagles as the second favorite to win the division. That is laughable to me. They won, 4 games this year, 5 games this year, and they're going to get worse. I mean, they're going to I wouldn't say necessarily worse, but they're probably not going to have, let's say, Deshaun Jackson, Alshon Jeffrey, Zach Ertz, some other guys. They're not going to have maybe Carson Wentz. We'll see. So if they have someone like Jalen Hurts, who had a couple good games, but the last couple games he did not have a good game. So having them as a second favorite to win the division is just laughable to me. And then they have us and the Giants as tied for last place. What is your take on that?
I mean, I care, and I'm like, I really, you know what I'm saying? Like, I care, like, why are you not, we deserve to be higher. I mean, I understand, keep sleeping on us, but at the same time, it's just like, I'm not even mad, really. It's the same thing every year, every year. It never gets old, or should I say, it gets old, rather. We're picked to either be third or fourth every single year. I mean, and let's just like, okay, you know what I'm saying? And when that one year we surprise you guys, hence this year, when we surprise you guys, don't try to, be on us now and try to put us first and second. Just keep us third and fourth, man. You know what I'm saying? It gets old after a while, but it's just like, what are we gonna do about it? One and two, we're used to this, man. We're always picked to be last.
Yeah, keep letting them do this. I mean, national media hates us, and I think that's part of the Vegas rankings. I mean, because they're not necessarily picking who they think. Like they're not necessarily picking who they like the order they think is gonna happen. They're picking kind of like the way they're gonna make the most money, like the way they're gonna take advantage of people. They know all these Cowboys fans, they're delusional. They know they're gonna be picking the Cowboys to win the Super Bowl. So they know that them putting them at first can make them a lot of money when they might go second or third. And we'll see. But we're going to have a little bit of harder year this year in terms of our schedule, but at the same time, the NFC East is going to have a hard schedule because we play 14 out of the 16, maybe 17 same teams that everyone else does in the division. And instead, so the teams that we play because of our first schedule, we play the Packers instead of the Bears for the second place schedule, which obviously that hurts right there. But then in the NFC West, we play the Seahawks instead of the Rams. And I rather play the Seahawks rather than the Rams this year with Matt Stafford. And then, we also possibly play the Bills rather than the Dolphins. So, I mean, I know a lot of people have been talking about the first place schedule, but what are your thoughts on it?
He said it again on my phone.
Like, what
I
are
didn't
your
hear.
thoughts on the first place schedule?
I mean, I'm not gonna say I don't think we should have got it because obviously we won a division, but I think for the NFC East they should have made an exception. Like we're 7-9, dude. Yeah, I understand we won a division and that's how it goes. But like, come on, man. Do you really think we can compete with the Chiefs? You really think we can compete with the Buck? The Bucks didn't win the division. I guess we could compete with the Bucks. And I said that if that's the NFC Championship next year, don't be surprised. But I guess we can compete with the Bucks. We almost been in the playoffs, but I'm just gonna put that out there. Do you really think we could compete with teams like the Bucks, the Saints? Obviously, well, the Saints, Drew Brees isn't gonna be there anymore. But basically, what I'm saying is, all the first place teams. Did you really think we can compete with them at this state and time at this point? Come on, man. You could have did us a favor, but I understand you have to do it. It's the first place team plays the hardest schedule, obviously. And it's what, you know what I'm saying? It's what the NFL has in place. So I'm not really mad about it, but I'm like, you could have did us a favor. And, instead of giving us the Packers, maybe the Lions. Did we get the Lions? I don't know if we got the Lions, but maybe the Lions or the Vikings or something. But it's all a part of the first place, I guess, schedule.
Yeah, and we would have played the Chiefs anyways this year. We would have played them. We would have played the Bucks anyways this year. Same thing with the Saints. The only difference is the Packers game, possibly the Bills game, and the what's it called? The Seahawks game. But honestly, Bills are obviously a really tough game, but second place would have played the Dolphins, which is a hard game too. And if the Bears make an upgrade at the quarterback position, they could be a lot better this year too. So honestly, we could see another year in the NFC East unless we make a huge upgrade at quarterback where it's like a lot of the teams are in that 6 to 8, 9 games range. Like I think that's definitely possible. So XP Gaming, we will play the Bills if they do have a 17 game schedule, and that is likely. LC, yeah, I agree. So now we'll go to linebacker position, and then we'll talk the draft a bit. What are some guys at linebacker this offseason in free agency that you would like to go after?
Honestly, I want to go in the draft, but if we did go veteran route, you couldn't go wrong with Levante David if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers doesn't re-sign him. And obviously, yeah, I understand he's up there in age. And then as you keep scrolling, you have Shaq Barrett's really like a pass rusher. Leonard Floyd wouldn't be bad. He's solid. And then you also have BJ Goodwin or Goodson rather. He's solid, but most of these guys are kind of like pass rushers. We need that middle linebacker. That's what I'm saying. Levante David is probably the main one that really wouldn't be bad. But I think this is in the middle linebacker. I think you need to go draft your own middle linebacker because the middle linebacker, honestly, like Chris Cooley said, is that cornerstone of the defense. Honestly, if we get that perfect guy in the middle, we could be scary, man. And I think you can go with the veteran, but I just think the smart route would be the draft.
Yeah, and one thing I'll say that Jacob said, and I agree with this, is that like you can't. I mean, obviously you can judge a bit with the schedule, like next year's schedule, but at the same time, like a lot of people were saying last year, like no way we beat the. You can just cross it out. We're not going to beat the 49ers. We're not going to beat the Steelers. We're not going to beat the Cowboys at all, and we're not going to beat the Seahawks. And we went on a 4-game winning streak. We beat the Cowboys. We beat the Steelers and we beat the 49ers, and we almost beat the Seahawks with Dwayne Haskins playing quarterback. So, I mean, we could definitely, like some of these games that are looking really tough, we could end up winning them this year. And some of the games that look really easy, we could end up losing them this year. So, going to be interesting to see how we respond this year to that first place schedule and see if it ends up being, actually tougher than maybe the second place team, because the Giants, who finished second, they're going to have to play the Dolphins. They're going to have to play the Rams instead of the Seahawks, and they're going to have to play the Bears. We'll see if the Bears make an upgrade at that quarterback position. And now talking into linebacker, I like Levante David. And, there's some holes we have on defense. Middle linebacker is one of them. I do think, like Chris Cooley was saying, that he thinks Cole Holcomb could be middle linebacker. So if Cole Holcomb's our middle linebacker, we still need another linebacker. And, you could, if you sign Levante David, then he's your middle linebacker. But if not, there's some other guys, KJ Wright, BJ Goodson. There's some other guys out there, Alex Singleton. And in the draft, some guys I really like. Jeremiah Owusu Koromoa is such a beast. Chaz Surratt is a beast as well. There's a lot of guys this year in free agent, or there's a few guys this year in free agency, and I would not mind this year in the draft if we have our quarterback position settled. I would not mind drafting a linebacker in the first round. Jeremiah Wuso-Koramoah. Maybe you trade back. Maybe they want to trade back, get some assets for next year, and maybe draft someone like Bolton. Or I'm sorry, if I might be mispronouncing it, but him. Or also Zaven Collins is a solid guy. Someone asked, is Foster still in the mix? I think he's a free agent. I don't know. They might sign him for like a minimum contract or around that, but it's gonna be tough. Someone said, can Landon Collins play outside linebacker? If so, do you negotiate his contract? I think he could play linebacker. It's a question if he wants to play linebacker. That's the biggest question right there. That's another biggest storyline with him. Juan, what's your take on, what should be Landon Collins' role this season, and what will be his role?
Me personally, if it was up to me, I would try to let him. I would let him walk because I don't think anyone would trade for him because obviously he's coming off his Achilles injury and obviously he wasn't that good. I think he'll play safety still, but I think he should be a linebacker if he did stay here. But I think if the smartest decision is just to let him walk, and if it was up to me, I would let him walk.
Yeah, I don't think they can cut him this year. It's gonna be real. It's almost impossible. They can cut him the year after that, but it's gonna be tough. I really, really like Cameron Curl, and I think that he played way better last year than Landon Collins did, and also was a 7th round pick with no offseason. So We also got to upgrade, like Jacob said, the free safety position. There's some guys, Richie Grant out of CF. We could do that. There's some other guys out there. So gonna be interesting to see also the safety position and how that works out this offseason along with Landon Collins and how he responds to the Achilles injury because Achilles injury is no joke and he might be out for a long time and he'll probably be ready for the season, but who knows? What's up, Talking Sports? So let's go into the draft. And one quick thing, I'll talk about the corners real quick. I think cornerback could be a position we upgrade this year in the off season. We need to find our cornerback one. I don't like any cornerbacks in free agency to be our cornerback one. But if we lose someone like Ronald Darby, then maybe you could go after William Jackson, Xavier Rhodes, guys like that. And then let's see what the free safety guys are this year in the offseason. I don't think there's any good ones. I think you have someone like Justin Simmons, but I think that's a lot of money. And you already have a bunch of money tied up to the safety position. So I don't think it's necessarily the smartest thing to do. So yeah, what is your take on the free safety position? You think we go? Did you want us to upgrade it?
Yeah, we can upgrade it, but I would like. I don't know. This is just my opinion. I don't think since this year was huge as far as the depth and everyone showing what they got, because you can upgrade at every position on this team, obviously, but I don't think you need to. I would not be mad if we went into week one with DeShazer Everett and Cameron Curl as the starter. Trust me, yes, you can upgrade at free safety, strong safety, but you don't need to anymore. That's another position where you don't need to. So I would not be mad if we roll with the guys we have. But yeah, of course you can upgrade it, and I wouldn't mind upgrading it.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Let me see their free safeties available this year in the off season. I don't know what I did, but I know Justin Simmons is available. Some other guys. So let's talk about the draft a little bit. What are some positions? Like, give me 3 positions you would like us to target in the draft. First round.
I think first round, obviously you can go quarterback. I think maybe cornerback if we don't resign Ronald Darby, and for sure linebacker is the number one. I think honestly, I was gonna say I believe linebacker is, as far as the draft, is more important than quarterback, but obviously it depends what you do in free agency. And I know in some people's eyes, like I remember I read a comment, someone said linebacker is more important than quarterback as far as the draft goes. So you can take that for what's it worth. But I think linebacker, quarterback, and I forgot what I said. I think I said cornerback is the most important in my opinion, because I think line could survive another year. It's really good. Just the run blocking wasn't the best, obviously, but other than that, I think that's really my 3.
Okay, yeah. So let's do a couple mock drafts and then we'll call it a day. So Ali said wide receiver, linebacker, left tackle. Philip B said linebacker, left tackle, quarterback. Yeah, I agree. I think linebacker is definitely a big need in the first round. Left tackle as well, and then obviously quarterback if we don't get it resolved, and then wide receiver. Again, I would not mind a receiver in the first round, but I mean, there's so many guys you can get in the later rounds. There's so many. A lot of the best receivers aren't in the league, aren't first round guys. DK Metcalf, Devontae Adams, was he a first round pick? I know AJ Brown was a second round pick. Obviously, Terry McLaurin was a third round pick. AB was a sixth round pick. Stephon Diggs, fifth round. Tyreek Hill was like a fifth round. So, like Trion said, unless the big 3 drop, unless one of those 3 drop to where we are, I would not want it. So right here, Juan, what would you do? Jeremiah Wuso-Koromoa, Christian Darrisaw, there's another tackle, Vera Tucker, I think USC, Kadarius Toney. What would you do here? Samuel Cosme, who's a good tackle.
So I don't because let's just put it out there. Let's say free agency, we got our guy, we got our quarterback who we want free agency. So if we got our quarterback who we want free agency, whoever that may be, you can fill the blank in whoever you want the quarterback to be. Let's just say I think you can't pass up on Jock. I think you have to go linebacker. I don't know. I don't think Zayvon Collins is still there. But I think if we got the person that we wanted as far as our quarterback position, I think you can't pass up on Jock. And I think the pick should be him. If Zayvon Collins isn't there, I think you should go him. But before you make the pick, you can obviously get who you want and your input. But let me see the quarterback position. I just want to see it.
Yeah, let me go ahead and do that. And I think they have Mac Jones rated low on this list, so he's going to be here definitely. They have Davis Mills rated at 88, but they have Kellen Mond, Kyle Trask, Jamie Newman. So no one really that good.
Yeah, so I think the pick here should be Jock. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I would take Jock, Jeremiah Uso-Koromoa. I would be good with Darrisaw as well. I really like him. Elijah Vera Tucker's good. Kadarius Toney would be okay again. Rather not draft a receiver in the first round. So we're going to take Jock. I think he's going to be a beast. He's not necessarily a middle linebacker per se, but he could play that position. But I think you can have Holcomb at middle linebacker and have Jock as your will, and then he can even play a little bit of safety too. He's so good in coverage. He is such a good, he is such a good intermediate short, coverage guy. So okay, this is interesting right here. We got a lot of good players available here. I don't know. Yeah, a lot of people did some weird picks, but we have Rashad Bateman here at 30. He's the 32nd ranked player. So
you might as well take him now.
Yeah, it's not like he's ranked low for them, but no one ended up drafting him. You got Zayvon Collins at 35. We already got a linebacker here, cornerback. So I think Bateman. I think he's gonna go lower than most people think.
I think. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just about to say, if Bateman's there, that's literally a steal because a lot of people have him going 19 to us on some mock drafts. So I think Bateman's a steal here.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, Jock is very versatile. Like I said, linebacker, some safety in there, very good in coverage, can get some pressure on the off the edge as well. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Bateman. Obviously, if he's here at 51, you definitely take him. You no doubt take him. But I would not be a fan of drafting him in the first round. That's my take. I'm not good with him in the first round, but if we get him in the second, I think that is a steal. So we'll go ahead and take him here. Cornerback as well. I think they might have met with this guy at the Senior Bowl. So we'll go ahead and take Bateman. We'll see who's available here. And we got 2 third-round picks, so I'm not going to do any trades right now. Okay. Man, there's a lot of cornerback. Okay. So let's see. I know we met with Josh Myers. Javon Holland would be a good pick here. We got Jabril Cox, Dylan Moses. We already got a linebacker, so we don't necessarily meet them. Let's see. So we got Dylan. I always mispronounce his name, but he did really good at the Senior Bowl. I would be good with him. Javon Holland, though, as a safety, he plays free safety. I would not mind that at all. And there's Michael Carter here. What would you do here?
I think you got to go safety here because although like I said, I would not mind if we went DeShazer Everett and Cameron Curl as opening day starters, but you can never go wrong with more depth. And third round, since we're not really finding a Terry McLaurin gem, I think this is where you start to build for your depth. So I think you would not go wrong free safety.
Yeah, I mean, Shreyan, I agree. I think I really, really like Amari Rodgers. I think he's one of the best slot receivers in this draft. I just think that since we already got a receiver in the second round, we might end up going after someone like Curtis Samuel, who's a perfect slot receiver. I think I'm going to go another position. So Javon Holland would be solid. offensive tackle from North Dakota State, which I do believe is the same team as Trey Lance plays on. So gonna go ahead and take Holland from Oregon. So let's see what we have as our second, third round pick. And we can go ahead and take let's see, the guy I wanted who is here, the tackle here in the with our second, third round pick. I'll let some people let's see. Yeah, Holland is probably the best here. Yeah, 74 is good value for him. Okay, so go ahead, guys, and in the chat, let me know who you guys think we should take here. I'll go through some of the positions: quarterback, Kellen Mond, running back, Michael Carter, receiver. Let me see. Yeah, receiver, Eskridge. Dwayne Eskridge is a beast. Elijah Moore, who's gonna definitely. I'm not doing this because I don't think it's realistic. I think Elijah Moore is gonna be. I think he's gonna be a late first, early second round guy. So they're right there. Each site has rankings that are a little bit off, but this one's solid. And then I think you take Dylan Radnews, or sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Philippi said Hunter Long would be solid. So what would you do here, Juan?
Honestly, I would not mind. Like I said, obviously we don't know what happened in free agency. That's why it's important. Well, not important really, but that's why we should do one obviously after free agency. But honestly, I think we should go tight end here. Like I said, Logan Thomas is probably the clear cut number one in their eyes. Obviously, we think we can. Obviously, some people think that you can upgrade there, but in their eyes, he's obviously clear cut number one. And I think this is where you can get a backup tight end and build for depth. You know what I'm saying? Instead of having to waste money, and not really a lot of money on a backup tight end, but you can get one on a cheap rookie deal here if you did go tight end. I think you should try to look to go tight end here.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think I just really like Radnews from North Dakota State. So what I think I'm gonna, and there's some Hunter Long is the best rated tight end here, but I really like Tommy Tremble, who's 104, and then Trey McKitty, who played at Georgia this past season. He's a beast. I think they haven't updated their rankings after the Senior Bowl, but he might be one of the first tight ends taken this year. I think he's a beast. So I'm going to take the tackle, but I definitely think tight end since we're doing 4 rounds, I think tight end in the 4th round or later would be good because we do need depth at that position. So we're going to go ahead and take a tight end next round. Let's see who's available. And I don't think this year we have a single comp pick. So that is a little bit unfortunate, but we signed so many guys this year in free agency. Okay, Trey McKitty is available. We'll go ahead and take him, but I don't think he's going to be available at this point. But he is he's a freak of nature. So I think that's a good pick. We'll go ahead and do one. We'll do a quick mock draft real quick. One more, like maybe 2. We'll do 3 rounds, but it's going to be quick. Let's see. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting this year, guys, on the draft, because if we don't fill that quarterback position, if we don't fill that quarterback position before the offseason starts, then, or before the draft starts, it's going to be interesting. Do we go with the guys we have? Do we end up going after a guy in the draft or do a draft trade? Going to be very, very interesting. So let's see. Let me read some of the chats. Okay, so I'm gonna reject all the trade offers. Okay, at 19, wow, Micah Parsons is available. Christian Darrisaw is available. Micah Parsons is a beast. He might slip a bit. Because of his character concerns. Who knows if those things are true, but if you guys have seen them, he definitely has some character concerns. What would you do with this pick? Darrisaw, Micah Parsons, what?
I think since although Micah Parsons did fall to us, I think since we went linebacker last draft, I think we should probably go quarterback here. Let's just say for the second free agency, we didn't get a quarterback, and we're going to draft one. I think you got to go with the quarterback here. Who are the available quarterbacks? I believe Mac Jones is going to be there, obviously. maybe Jamie Newman, but I think the guy would be Mac Jones
Yeah,
if
Mac
we did go
Jones.
quarterback.
Yeah, if I were doing this, I would take Micah Parsons, but let's vary it up a bit because we did take a linebacker last. So quarterback, I think it's Mac Jones will be okay here. Mac Jones would be okay here. And I think also Christian Darrisaw would be a beast here as well. I want to hear what you guys think in the chat below. Like I said, I would take Parsons here, but I want to vary it up. Like Juan said, I think it's a good idea to vary it up a bit so we can see what we do in the second and third rounds a little bit differently, maybe some later round linebackers. So what do you guys think right here on his his accusations are wild, hopefully they aren't true, but so what do you guys think? Go ahead and put in the chat Mac Jones or the tackle from VTech, Christian Darrisaw. Go ahead and put that in the chat. There's some other guys available. Najee Harris, Christian Barmore from Alabama. Let's see any other guys. Travis Etienne, Javonte Williams, Rashad Bateman, Terrence Marshall, Brevin Jordan. So there's some good guys. Let's see in the chat. Okay, we got a lot of people. Okay, I'm gonna go up. Mac Jones, Alisa Darrisaw, tackle, Darrisaw. Okay,
Yeah,
almost
I think
everyone
he
said
might be.
Darrisaw, so we'll go ahead and take him. I think he's gonna be a beast. I like Mac Jones. I honest, a lot of analysts, who knows, a lot of these guys. They're wrong, but a lot of people have him going before we even draft. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Kenny, Yaboa. I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce that name, but was he available here? Let's see. Yeah, I mean, Darrisaw is a good. He's a good pass blocker and run blocker. He's athletic. He's a beast. So let me decline this trade right here. See, okay, so right here, Baron Brownrigg, a linebacker available. We got Terrence Marshall available, Rondell Moore, who's a beast. We got a lot of good options here. Go ahead and put that in the chat. Terrence Marshall, Baron Brownrigg, Rondell Moore. Those guys right there. Terrence Marshall here would be really good though. I don't think he's here though. And yeah, make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe to Juan Gotti. Put that link there in the description. So yeah, what do you think, Juan? Receiver or another position?
I think since we just get a lineman, I believe we just got a lineman.
Yeah.
I think you should go receiver.
Yeah, so we could go. This is tough. Terrence Marshall's a beast. I wouldn't mind Rondell Moore, Elijah Moore as well. I'm gonna take Terrence Marshall, but there's a lot of good receivers this year in the draft, and Baron Brownrigg would be good too. I think linebacker though, we definitely got to go linebacker next round. Okay. Oh, this is tough. Oh man, we got no good linebackers here. Let's see. What's the best available linebacker? Chaz Surratt. Ooh, this would be. I really like this pick. I think I'm gonna go ahead and take him. I think they have him ranked a little lower than I would. I think he's gonna be a beast. He had a solid Senior Bowl. Got hurt, but played pretty well in practice. So I'm gonna go ahead and take him. I think he's gonna be a beast in the league. Let me reject these offers, and it's gonna be the last pick of the day before we go ahead and call it a day. So let's see. We got a lot of good picks here. Go ahead and put in the chat what you would go get. Hunter Long is available. Chaz Surratt might get drafted earlier on, but if he was there in the third, I would take him definitely. It just depends on how teams view him. So right here, Walker Little, tackle, but we already drafted tackle. You could go Dwayne Eskridge. Hunter Long would be solid. Let's see any safeties available. Andre Cisco's a beast. So yeah, I think I know what I want to do here, but let's go ahead and see what the chat wants to do. Yeah, Felon is kind of like Gibson, but he's a little different in a sense, like he's the opposite a little bit. Am Hunter, who you talking about? Who you talking about? He said, "Get him now." I'm not sure who you're talking about, but go ahead and put that in the chat. Let's see who people are saying. Okay, someone said Telenoa. Sorry, I'm really bad at pronouncing names. So, Juan, what position would you go here? It's tough right here.
So I'm thinking. So we went lineman. I think did we go receiver? I think
Yeah, we want receiver.
we went linebacker, receiver, or lineman, receiver.
And
I
linebacker,
was,
yeah.
yeah. I don't want to say we go to same. We don't have to do differently here. As much as I want to, I think you might have to go either linebacker or safety again, because that's really what we need. You know what I'm saying? Outside of obviously quarterback and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, let's go to safety. I mean, it's really a preference. Cisco's good. Hufanga is good as well. I haven't really watched him too much. I really like Cisco. We'll go ahead and take best player available, and we'll call it a day. Obviously, the first draft was a little bit better, but I think this one was solid as well. Let me know what you guys think. Oh, okay, Am Hunter, you were talking about Parsons. You were talking about Parsons, but yeah, I mean, if I was actually doing that, I would take Parsons, but we're trying to switch it up a bit. So again, guys, thank you guys so much for coming in here. Appreciate Juan for coming in as well. Let me put his link in the chat. And yeah, any questions you guys have, and then we'll end up calling it a day. Let's see. I mean, yeah, Rivera could humble Parsons, and who knows? Those things could be made up things. The thing that scares me a little bit, though, is like everyone was like, Geis had these character concerns coming out at LSU, and then a lot of people were saying, "Hey, they just made these things up." But I mean, we all saw what happened.
Nice. No, I mean, Odell, I guess you could say.
Imagine Geis with Gibson. I mean, that would be such a good combo, man. It sucks. It
Yeah,
sucks what happened.
Odell, guys. I mean, I guess you could say Justin Jefferson and obviously Justin Jefferson and Jarvis Landry are probably like the only, not only, but two most humble, I guess, people. I mean, remember Sadiq Charles had issues. So I don't think it's made up because although
Yeah,
he doesn't go to LSU obviously, but I'm just
yeah.
saying
But man,
it's what.
yeah, yeah, it's unfortunate. I always get upset about Geis because I think he had
Mm-hmm.
so much potential, and he seemed like a nice guy too. Like I met him. He was like a really, really nice guy. He took a picture with me. Such a nice guy, and I thought he was gonna be such a good. I mean, obviously, his biggest issue before the off-field issues was his injury history. But when he was on, he's a beast, and I thought, we needed that extra running back this year because McKissick was more of a pass catching threat. But if you had another guy like Geis in there, ooh, that would have been a really, really good thing to have, man. But we'll see what happens. I think the running back position is solid right now, but maybe they go after another guy that can get you a few long carries along with Gibson. So yeah, guys, thank you guys for coming in. I appreciate all the support from you guys. Like I said, make sure to check out Juan's channel. We both post content, a bunch of Washington football team content. And yeah, we'll see what happens in the next few days. It's probably going to be a light news week for Washington, but you never know. Peace, guys. Thanks for coming in. Thank you, Elite. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Shrihan. Thank you, Armin, Sia Blue Jay, Winter Nation. Let's see any other guys. Leonard. Peace out, guys. I appreciate all you guys for coming in here, and thank you, Juan, for coming on too.
Thank you for having me. Peace.
Yep. Peace.
Peace.